This is Hannibal here from the HannibalTV.com, and we are live with the WWE Hall of Famer, the Boogie Woogie Man himself, Jimmy Valiant. How are you doing today, sir?
Oh, Devin, man. First of all, brother, I want to thank you for having me on, man. And hey, I'm a big fan of yours, brother. I watch you every time you try to do something, man. I'm on it, man. So you're doing a great job. Keep it up, brother.
Thank you. Well, we've had a lot of requests for you over the years. I was hoping to actually get down to your wrestling school one of these days and record that and record the museum, but right now they got the border closed. I'm stuck up here in Canada.
Gotcha. I understand that, man. A lot of big fans in Canada, man. I wrestled so many times, so many years. Of course, the Crockett's and in Toronto Maple Leaf Gardens and Kitchener and all that. But also years ago, me and Bobby Heenan and Baron Von Raska and Big Cat Ernie Ladd, we would wrestle in Detroit on Saturday night, and then we would stay over and then go for a afternoon shot for the Bear Man, and that was in Ontario also. But we'd go through Windsor, right through Detroit that way, and that was in London, Ontario. And so many great fans, man. All throughout that area. Yeah, I just love Canada, and yes, sir, brother, man. Yes.
Yeah, I know the Bear Man had a lot of the smaller towns and like the northern towns, didn't he? But I understood he paid pretty well.
Real well, and he ran at that time just in the summertime because we ran at all the hockey arenas, and of course, then it was tied up with hockey. That's their big sport. You're all big sport, and I love hockey, man. But also the summertime, that's when the arenas was there for him. So every summer he would bring in a real good crew. I mean, some real good boys and midgets, girls, and he'd have it all. And once a month, me and Bobby and Roski and whoever we were coming out of WWA, Dick the Bruiser's territory, Indianapolis, and so we would go in there and do their once a month shot for them and program it, and it was great, man. I just enjoyed it, and of course, Dave McKagan, of course, he had the bear, all the time, and that's really where we first seen Johnny Valiant, which his name at that time was John L. Sullivan, Devin, and just real fast story, man, that happened there in London, Ontario, with the Bearman. Bobby was our manager as pretty boy Bobby Heenan. I was handsome Jimmy, and he managed me and Roski, he wanted to go to the AWA. He wanted to go with Gagne in Minneapolis. So Bruiser says, well, if you go, you got to replace yourself with another top heel, and so he says that's the only way he could lead the territory, because Bruiser had his thumb, and he's very, very that way, and which that was my mentor, Dick the Bruiser, so Bobby comes to me and says, man, I think of somebody we can bring in so I can get out of here, and I says something, and he says, remember that big, good-looking blonde kid, man, good body up there, Johnny something, and I says for the Bear Man, I says, yeah, Sullivan, man. He says, yeah, and so we talked to Bruiser, and Bruiser wanted. He's married to Rio, which is his wife, and she's Italian, and of course Bruno Sammartino trained Johnny, and they're both from Pittsburgh, and God bless, they're both gone, man. It breaks my heart. And but the Bobby Rio, Bruiser's wife, wanted to always bring Bruno into territory, the Indianapolis territory for Bruiser, and we had a real good crew in there, man. We had of course, Wilbur Snyder and Moose Cholak and Pepper Gomez. So we had a cooking. So Bruiser gets on the phone, talks to Bruno, and he says, look, I want you to come in for some shots, and if you do, I'm going to give your kid Johnny, a break, and because he hasn't got his real big break yet, and he said, I'm going to team up with Handsome Jimmy, and we're going to call him Luscious Johnny, the Valiant Brothers, Luscious Johnny, Handsome Jimmy, and that's how that all came about, man. Was from the Bear Man just doing, and me and Johnny stayed together 5 years, man. Good 5 productive years, and God bless them, man. It just broke my heart when they passed.
You guys were known for being phenomenal heels, causing all kinds of havoc in Madison Square Garden and everywhere you went. What are some of the fan reactions you guys got as heels? Did you actually cause riots over the years?
Oh, you bet, man. Especially with Ernie Ladd, brother. I had to keep him down, man. Ernie. Well, he had that real famous one in Detroit, in Cleveland, where they threw all them cheers in the ring. I know you've seen it, and it's been everywhere. But years ago. But oh man, Ernie would stop going back. So much heat going back to the dressing room and get right in the guy's face and that. And I says, Ernie, man, brother, man, listen. Hey, these police are here and we're surrounding us, but man, let's just keep going. I had to talk to him, and he did, because we did have so much. Devin, man, hey, they would try to burn you with cigarettes, throw hot coffee on us. I mean, it was a serious deal. Hey, this is just going to the ring. So you imagine, coming back out, and we had to hide our cars, man. I never had a car that wasn't keyed. They'd key it, they'd break the windows. We'd have to hide them, or they'd get your car and or get there real early and stay late, and it was just a mess. And even my daughter, I had 3 little girls, and we would go somewhere, and I couldn't go to their functions like school activities or church, or I couldn't go anywhere with my family, and because the heels, I didn't want them teased and about whatever, and oh, your daddy, he thinks he's so tough and this and that. So I told him, just tell them, which I am, and this is the gospel. I says, just tell them that at school, if they ask what your daddy does, and say, well, he works out of town, which I do. I did, and he's a salesman, and which that's why I'm a salesman. So that was it, and I would keep a low profile, wherever we'd go, but yeah, it was a serious thing. It was like night and day. Now, the good guys come out, yay, and boo some, and the bad guys, yay, boo some. But brother, it was night and day, man. It was like the old westerns, man. The good guys wore the white hats and the bad guys the black hats, and it was serious stuff, man. It was, Devin. Yes, sir. Biggie.
As a trainer, since we have a lot of professional wrestlers that watch these interviews, what would be your advice for a heel today? Could there be a legitimate hated heel still in 2020?
You bet there could. First of all, what I would tell them, and I was one of the first to come out to music, not the first, but one of the first. The first was what was it? Gorgeous George. He came out to music just 2 or 3 times on TV, never in the arena. Ernie Roth, the Grand Wizard, the first time, 1970, 71, I was in New York, Madison Square Garden. I was teamed up with Beautiful Bobby. And now I'm not talking about Beautiful Bobby Eaton, that everybody knows, the Rock and Roll Express. But this was Bobby Harmon. This was Bobby Harmon, and we were Handsome Jimmy and Beautiful Bobby, and the Grand Wizard was our manager, and he remembered that Gorgeous George came out to music. So So we came out to music first. So I know what music does. And when I became the Boogie Woogie Man, brother, I never forgot that. This was 1971. In 1981, when I became the Boogie Woogie Man for the Crockett's, man, first thing I asked, let me come out to music. What? Yeah, Crockett. They said, okay. You know, because they never heard about it, or no one's ever come out to it, you know. And that's how I got on fire, man. You know, because as soon as you hear music, man, you want to get up, you want to start dancing. You get your endorphins flowing, man, and you're wanting to really get going with that music, and especially something hot. And so what I would do, if I was talking to a heel that wanted really to get over serious, to get the serious heat, forget the music, man. Come out to no music. Stop that right away. Because music, for one thing, now is, as soon as they play the music, they know who's coming out, which they get a big pop, but that's good. You got to be different. You got to be different. If you came out to no music, another thing, you'd be the only one. See, everybody comes out to music, and even in the independent circuit. I mean, for the first match on, everybody comes out to music, but you got to be different. So I would come out to no music for one thing. That's a starter, and the whole deal is like when I became the Boogie Woogie Man, came out to music, and brother, I'd dance, man, I'd hug and I'd kiss, and I don't care, I'd kiss everybody, grandma, grandpa, children. Old ladies, man, I'm talking about someone's wife. Hey, they would come and ask me, hey, Boogie, kiss my wife, kiss my girlfriend, and because I was kissing everybody. Hey, blue, green, black, purple, white, it didn't matter. Hey, I kissed everybody, man, children, grandma, it don't matter. And so that's something else I did that nobody was doing. Well, for one thing, who wants to do that? See, but I was getting over because I was doing stuff differently than anybody else in our business, man. And so that was two things. That was dancing, kissing, and coming out. And like the very first time I came out to this, and Ole and Crockett, Jim Crockett, they said, can you grow a beard? I said, yeah, man. I guess I can. He said, take your razor, throw it away. He said, we're sending you to Memphis for 6 weeks. When you come back, have the beard going. We're going to you get your music, whatever you want to come out to. And he says, we're going to build you on TV. And for 6 weeks, all they did was talk about him. They didn't show nothing. Talk about, wait till you see the Boogie Woogie Man. He's on his way. Wait till you see, and they built it and built it and built it. And when they first time, they said, "Are you ready? Are you ready? Stay tuned. Right after this commercial, the Boogie Woogie Man's here today. It's here." 6 weeks later, and as soon as they came back and say, "Here it is," and my music hit, and it was I picked the song. Boy from New York City, Manhattan Transfer, and it was real hot at that time. And the ad-libs did it back in the 50s, man. But this was in the 80s, and Manhattan Transfer did it. And both records I come out to, but it's really good. So when I came out of that dressing room, brother, man, I didn't go to the ring. I went straight up to the. Now this is a little studio, so we just got one set of bleachers in Charlotte. And I went up and I hugged and kissed, and man, I was up there, and man, everybody's dancing and clapping and hugging, and because the music got them going. They never seen this or heard it, and I went right straight there, boom, to David Crockett and man, I kissed David, man, right on first time, and I said, oh man, he didn't know it was coming, and man, I shot in the ring, and I told him, I said, keep the music going. And I came right in the ring there, and Devin, and man, I hit that ropes and punched and boom, and hit the kid there, boom, he takes the big bump, man, I hit that rope, dance, boogie woogie, drop the big elbow on them. 1, 2, 3. The music's still playing, man. They had to ring the bell because I just took off whenever they did it. And as soon as I didn't get up, man, I got up, I raised my hand, boom, shot right up, right back into the audience right there, doing it again, hugging, kissing, boom, music's blaring, bing, boom, boom. There's the dressing room, the door shut right there, and bing, he's gone. The music up. What in the world was that? What was that? It's all different stuff. They never seen nothing like it. And they built it for 6 weeks, see? So it happened, and I got over so fast. And my first match was that we built was going to be in Lynchburg, Virginia, against Ivan Koloff. That was my very first angle there with Ivan, and so this is the first time they're going to see me in the live show, and we did it there in the Main Street Armory, and it's a huge armory, huge, and so I rode up with Weaver, and me and Weaver drove up, and he already knew because he worked in the office, and he already knew that man, it's going to be sold out, because he knew what the advance was. And we got there regular time, he says, and he said, I've never seen this, Boogie. He says, because that line was all the way around, waiting to get in, all the way around the block, down the thing. It's out of sight, man. And it just got over like $1 million because there's something different. So that's what I would tell, a heel today. If they want the real heat, you do something different, no music, man, and get in there, and Devin, angles that worked 50 years ago in our business, man, in the carnivals, even man, it worked today. I mean, these aren't it'll still, you gotta have something that is really personal, like when Paul Jones and his army, 5 years that lasted, and he had the great stable, man. I either wrestled Paul Jones or I wrestled Barbarian or Shaska Watley or Baron von Raska was in his stable. Superstar Billy Graham, he was going as a kung fu guy then. He was there. Oh my goodness!
I interviewed Billy Graham a lot, actually. Could you do you have any stories about Billy Graham, because he's pretty popular on this channel?
Oh, brother, I just love him. I love Billy, man. He's my brother for life, man. And he's been through so much, and his health but he had a great career, and man, a WWF world champion, and oh man, I just take my hat off to him. He was a teenage Mr. America bodybuilder, and he had just as a teenager, man, he had a man's body, and he's still just a boy, and he just really trained hard, and of course it just shot his body, yeah, Billy, man, he would tie dye his own stuff, man, and I tried to tie dye different things, and I never could do it. He had it down to an art, and it is a science to tie dye. And but he just had white. He'd order from Carl and Hildegard. He'd just order white tights and all cotton's got to be 100% cotton, and to really do the job. And so these are little secrets that you if you don't know, regular nylon or something, it won't tie dye like that, or other shirts or whatever. But it's got to be 100% cotton. But anyway, he got he had it down, man. Hey, I got right here, brother. This is one of my bandanas, man. And that we're going to put up tonight. With Nick and the Captain Corner, brother. And hey, tune in for that, man. But this is one of his. This is from Crockett's. and he did this for me, man. And I just love the brother. Yeah, oh, I know he's hot. He's very hot. He's hot all over the world, man.
There's a fan on here that says you were a great baby face, and he's wondering how you liked working against Paul Jones' Army and Gary Hart's stable.
You bet. It was something. Again, Paul Jones is one of the longest continuous feuds. It lasted 5 years, and in the Mid Atlantic, and again, I wrestled one of him. And Abdullah Butcher was in it there, and so many big stars. Or Paul Jones, 7 days a week. For 5 years, man. And they always wanted. Paul Jones was one of the hottest baby faces ever. I mean, he was such a good looking guy, for years there, and he was number one, and that's what he went as number one. He was number one baby face, and he was so hot, the girls just loved him. He was like a matinee idol. He's so good looking, and then when he turned heel, oh my goodness, boy, he had double heat, and so it worked good. But they always was trying to get his hair, always wanting to get his hair, and never could, So at the finish, of our feud, it came down to hair against hair, and of course he screwed me, man, and I shaved my hair. I took it like a man, and then we came back, and and then. We went on, and I finally got his hair, and that was the end of the feud. But we finally got Paul Jones's hair, and Gary Hart, and God bless, we lost both of them, man. It just lost the animal, man. Yesterday, and Dusty and Piper, and oh man, it just breaks my heart, man. For our boys, man, but Gary Hart. He was a Chicago boy. I was raised in Hammond, Indiana, and 30 minutes you could be downtown, loop of Chicago, man, right down the business district, So that's how close Indiana, Illinois, and then right down Lake Michigan, brother, and I could be right there. But he's a Chicago boy. Bobby Heenan was a Chicago boy, But the thing is, with Kabuki, oh my goodness, well, what a feud there was, I just loved it. And brother, he sprayed me every night, man, and that feud lasted over a year, and he sprayed me every night. And in fact, he was the TV champion, and I beat him in one of the Starcades. I was under the hood as Charlie Brown, because they screwed me, and I had to leave the territory for 6 months, and that's when I put that hood on and the beard hanging out. Everybody knew it was me and Gary Hart and his stable, and Roski was in his stable, Big Baron, man. But Kabuki, and they said, I know that's Jimmy Valiant, I know. But, of course, Bob Conover, they say, well, it says right here, Charlie Brown from out of town. If you think it's him, take it, prove it, So it was a real good feud, and I'd knock Kabuki out, man, out of the ring, and knock Hart down or something, and I'd take the hood off and wave at everybody, because the crowd was with it, and they were part of it, see, and that's how it happened. Just like when the Assassins, with Paul Jones, and when they took my beard, they tied me up and cut my beard off, and then I got lost, and then they found me on Skid Row sitting there, and that's when we came back to the Boogie Man Jam. And the only thing I had left was my hair, my heart, my soul, or whatever I said, and I told the people, you're part of this action, and to make it be like that, and we did real good business, because if he beat me, they were going to shave my head, and they already took my beard, so I wouldn't have a hair on my head, and then I said, but if I beat you, I'm gonna hold the assassin's mask in my right hand, and we went everywhere with it, because he had a shot at it every show, Richmond, you know, Atlanta, brother, man, Charlotte, you name it. You know, we went everywhere, and Norfolk, you know, and scope and the whole thing is all this was super hot stuff, man. And Kabuki would spray me. And you going back to him and Gary, he would spray me every night, and I had green, yellow, blue, purple, and everything, man, all over, you know, my head, and then finally, you know, and he'd blind me, you know, and just wear me out, man. And then that's when we I got the goggles on, man, and then he sprayed, and I just wiped the goggles off, and I kicked his can, man, and yeah, oh, that was a great program.
There's another fan on here that wrestled as the Night Ninja. He says to tell you the Night Ninja says hello, BWC class of 2004. Any memories of the Valiant Brothers reunion event and memories of Jerry and Johnny Valiant?
You bet, you bet. Yeah, man. Yeah, I want to say hello to the Night Ninja, man, and a good cat, man, and he's my brother, man, and he was one of our alumni, and he did so much for you know, Angel, my lovely wife, and myself, and Angel has her own wrestling wear, you know, WWA, and hey, just look up jimmyvaliant.weebly.com, y'all, if you want something, and or just chat with us, and that's our website, you know, or go to jimmyvaliant at outlook.com, and either one. And hey, man, hey, anything that you know you send me, I answer everything, brother. And I don't even know how to turn the computer on, Devin, but my missus does, man. And but when you get it from the message back, it's from me. And if I'm on the road or something, then she'll tell you. Angel will tell you, you know, Boogie's gone, but when he gets back, he'll answer. And I do, every one. So you write me, jimmyvaliant at outlook.com, or just check the website, jimmyvaliant.weebly.com, 2 dots there. And that, or just put Jimmy Valiant, just Google that, man, and it'll all come up. You'll get to me if you want to write me, and whatever, Facebook or whatever it is called. And but yeah, man, Devin, yeah, you bet, brother. It's just the Night Ninja. Yeah, he did so much for Angel and myself, BWC. I just love him, and yeah, Jerry, and with the 6-man tag, and we were before the Freebirds. You know, where we could all go out at one time, and it's all in my book. I tell the story, you know, because me and Johnny was supposed to went back, and we were WWF World Tag Team Champions in 73, 74. Kept them over a year at that time, and longest ever champions at that time. Now, you know, I'm sure has been broke many times, but then we came back in 78. Now, this is all for Vince Sr. The Vince you see today, Vince McMahon, we worked for his father, and so then we went back in 78 to become again. We did 6 TVs for him, so the TVs are already going out as the Valiant Brothers, and coming back, and that's when I got real sick, and I talk about in my autobiography. I got my hardback autobiography, guys. I only got like 4 cases left, guys. This is my second printing, and it's called "Woo, Messy Daddy, Welcome My World," the Jimmy Valiant story, man. It's 600 pages. It weighs 3 pounds, Devin. I tell people, buy you 2 copies, put one in each hand, and work out with them, man. You know, you do curls, whatever. Yeah. But I got stories about everybody, but I talk about it, and Jerry, that gentleman Jerry came in, and he became the Valiant Brother, and then when I got well, and a few months later, then I came back in, and we did a lot of 6-mans, and of course, you know, that was 78, 79-ish, yeah.
Is it true that there was some legitimate heat between you and Bobby Heenan at one point, or is that all rumor?
No, all rumor, brother. You know, people, there's a couple different things here. People say all the time, I know you was trained by Vern Gagne. I wasn't trained by Vern Gagne. Vern Gagne didn't. When I started in 1964, there wasn't even. He didn't have a wrestling school. Now I worked for him in 64, 5. I'd go in there and do TV, man. I'd go in there and do jobs, and and that's how we started years ago. And it's not like today, completely different. And it's just squashes, but I was coming out of Dick the Bruiser, and the Volkovs. Now Nikolai and Boris Volkov. Now I'm not talking about Nikolai Volkov. That God bless, we just lost him. That teamed up with the Iron Sheik in the 80s, become the champion. That I'm talking about the original Nikolai Volkov. His name was Steve Gobb, and they were real hot in the 40s and 50s. And Boris was his partner. They broke me in, and really they didn't have no school or nothing, and there wasn't any. I think there was something in Detroit you could go, or another one somewhere, but very few at all. I actually learned on the job training, in the ring, and that's how, But they had to like you. And Volkov's like me, God bless, and I wasn't a wise guy, If you're a wise guy, brother, man, they'd hurt you, man. These guys got all big cauliflower ears, big 20-inch necks. I mean, they're the real deal. They're men, and I was just a young kid, I knew I couldn't lace my boots. I didn't know nothing, and I was very, give them honor and courteous, and I wasn't a wise guy, a smart guy. And they took a liking to me, and then they sent me to Dick the Bruiser, the Volkovs, and he took me under his wing, and he was my boss. But I learned in the ring, Now I did go to Gagne school a couple of times and work out with them a little bit, but that was years later, man. When I was in there 10 years, I was there and I helped a little bit, a couple times, only a couple times. So that's one thing. Everybody thinks Vern Gagne, for some reason, trained me, and he didn't. But I worked for him a lot, and then Bobby Heenan. Yeah, no, Bobby, brother, no, brother. Hey, I respect him. In my book, in my autobiography, I talk about him. Hey, he is one of the 5 best performers in our business. I'm telling you, him, Ray Stevens, Red Bastine. I could just, Jerry Lawler, man, Dick the Bruiser. I'm telling you, guys, he could do it all. Bumps, talk, and he was my manager, and there was never no heat there, never. But the people, for some reason, I know him and Johnny, and see, they're both gone. I don't want to even talk about, but I know they had a little something. When Johnny was in there years ago, Devin, and he was went in as Johnny V, and he managed, I think, Beefcake and Valentine, and he was their manager in that. And Johnny told me that Bobby got him fired or whatever. But see, I don't even want to talk about it. So if there was any heat, it was between Johnny and him, not me and Bobby. I love Bobby, man. God bless him. He really struggled there at the end of his life, and but no, we started together, me, Broski, in 64, 65, and we all started out together, man, and he was just such a great talent, man. Yeah, I mean, the interviews. Oh, and so witty, so witty. Hey, Devin, he was so witty, man. Well, him and Monsoon, look at this. Oh, geez, the best, brother.
There's a fan on here that wants to know who was the stiffest wrestler you ever worked with.
Oh, brother, I'll tell you, man. It had to be that big German. Oh man, shoot. Well, I'll think of it in a second. Man, I worked with him 100 times when I was a kid, and it hurts you, man. And um, but but it, Moose Cholak again. See, these guys all passed. I don't want to talk about because that's not me. I don't. But anyway, Moose was tough, man. He was a tough man. He boxed pro and he wrestled and he went to the Navy. He wrestled and boxed and everything. But he was amateur wrestler too. But he didn't mean it. See, he was just a big guy, man, and he would hurt you. One time Moose shot me in, and he to turnbuckle, boom, and I'm big, man. At that time, man, I was 260 pounds, and he would give the Moose call. Ow! He'd come running in, give me the El Splasho, in the turnbuckle. And man, he's killing me, man. He's killing me. And you can't talk to him because he don't even know he's doing it. And so next time I said, give me another one. When he did, I said, I'm gonna move. So at the last second, Devin, I moved, and he goes, boom! He hit that turnbuckle so hard because I wasn't there. He was, I was his padding brother, for all the days, so he goes. He turns around. He holds his chest, and he's 400 pounds. He says, "Oh, my sternum," and I had to laugh. I said, "Brother, man, you hurt yourself, man. And you see what you're doing to me? You know what I mean?" So he was stiff, but he didn't mean it. He was a nice guy, brother, man. God bless him. Hans Schmidt, brother, Hans Schmidt. Now, there's a guy that was really tough, and he didn't like the young kids, and it's a shame. It's a shame, man. And there's few other guys that later on that they were real tough on the boys, and it's no good. We'd go to Atlanta, Devin, every TBS for Ted Turner from Crockett's in the '80s, and we do the TV, and brother, they would put the list down, Dusty Wood or J.J. Dillon, and the list would be there, and all the job boys would come and look right away. And man, I seen them, Vader or someone else. They're really tough on the boys, man. I seen them grab their bag and go. They wouldn't even work with them, man, because they're hurting them, But if they seen Boogie Woogie, oh, they just all smiles, man. I take care of them, brother. I hurt myself before I hurt them kids, man. And that's what I do. I teach that at my wrestling camp, Boogie's wrestling camp, man. If you want to be a pro wrestler, 30 years we've been there, brother. We got a proven, method, man, and I got great instructors. And in fact, I got Chris Collins, one of my instructors, with me now. Been with me over 20 years, tonight, it's something that I teach the old school and the new school. You gotta keep up with the times. Of course, the kids watching what's happening now, and so that's what they want. But I teach the old school too, and the reason is, Devin, is because if I don't teach that, it's going to be a lost art. That the old school. So we do the old school, the new school, the in between school, brother. So that's what we do at BWC. And if you want to be a wrestler, ballet manager, referee, whatever, check it out. Jimmy Boogie's Wrestling Camp in Charlottesville, Virginia.
Carlos on here was asking where people can find your book if they want to order your book.
Yeah, you can order it just in a few minutes at Captain Corner. Yes, sir, brother, man. And again, I got only 4 cases left. I got a case with me. There's 14 books in there. And so check out the Captain Corner and just in a few minutes after this, Devin, and I'll autograph you one and we'll get it right to you, brother.
And Marco wants to know how you liked working with Andre the Giant.
Loved it, brother. I worked against him, of course. I worked with them as tag team, me and Bugsy McGraw, 6 man. Oh, I've done it all, man. He's just a real sweetheart. He's like a bear, man. I mean, he could just backhand you, man, like a bear. I mean, I'm sure. Years ago, we wrestled bears, Bear Man and other. They had other bears too. Nick Adams had a bear, and Tuffy Truesdale had a bear, and of course Dave McKagney had a bear. But we'd go around, and they stopped that. And we'd wrestle bears. But Andre, man, he was like a bear. I'm telling you, he could just whack you, brother, and just knock your head off, man. And oh man, I got did a cover on one of the magazines back in the '70s, and Andre's in the air and he's giving me the splash. I mean, in the air, and I'm laying there, boy. And he's going to come down. He's going to come down, brother, man. He could have killed me, But no, he was great. He was great. And he was in so much pain at the end of the year. He just broke my heart at his end of career, and boy, I was there when he started in his prime, and when they brought him in, from Montreal and came over from France, and so just a gentleman, man, and oh man, he could drink so much, brother, man. Years ago they had the beer bottles and they were long neck, real long, and his hands were so big. He would grab the bottle, and you couldn't even see nothing. And this is the big long neck beers. I'm telling you, it's unbelievable. And he'd go like this, look like he was sucking his thumb, man, because you couldn't see what he's doing. But he's drinking that beer, brother. And a case is nothing, man. Hey, a case is nothing for him, in a city.
There's been numerous fans on here that have wanted to know if the story about Jerry Jarrett and Jerry Lawler buying you a house in Memphis is true, and that you actually went ahead and painted it purple, then left them with the house.
I did. That's gospel. They would, want me to come in, and so they would call Crockett, and Crockett asked me, yeah, I'll come in. So every time I came in, Devin, they would ask, say, when you coming home, man? When you coming home? So I got tired of them asking, because I was happy where I was. And then he says, then I says to myself, I says, next time they ask me, I'm going to say, buy me a house, I'll come back in, and stay and whatever. So they did. Yeah, they bought me a house. I didn't paint it purple. I painted black. Everything was black. Black tub, black stinking, black everything, And I did. And I stayed in Lawler's book. I tell that this is gospel. I was there 6 months. And the reason I left is because I was never there. Man, they sent me everywhere. They gave me a salary, and man, I was in Puerto Rico. I was in Japan. They sent me back. I was back in Caracas forever, man. So I'd be everywhere. And I just slept in 6 months. I probably slept a couple of weeks there. And this is gospel, brother. I was gone, and I said, "This is no good." So I just gave him the key back, and because I had to stay there 5 years. It was all documented, lawyer, signed, sealed, delivered. In 5 years, the house was mine, and the deed and everything. And I wasn't paying no rent. They were taking out the house payment out of the Memphis, because Memphis was selling out every Monday night, man. And it was in Memphis. I went in the house in Memphis. It was nice, swimming pool, everything, and in Lawler's book, he says, handsome. I was handsome Jimmy. And handsome. We bought him a house, and he gave us the keys back. He stayed 6 weeks. Well, I stayed 6 months. I really did 6 months. I talk in my book. I tell the story. He tells the story too, but he says 6 weeks. But I stayed 6 months.
And of course, you're known for your run in Memphis, working against Lawler and replacing Lawler for that year when he broke his leg. Any memories of Jerry Lawler from working there?
Oh man, he was the best. I just said my five favorite. Bobby Heenan, I included Lawler, man. Yeah. He was the best. I went in 1977 just for a one night round robin, and brother, I stayed, and I'm still going in. In fact, this Saturday, they asked me to come in and they got a big match in Jackson, Tennessee, and man, I just had to bow out. I couldn't handle that because I'm done, man. Hey, this was my farewell tour in Devon, and it just didn't work out. I didn't have that many matches because of what's happening now today, and with 19 and I just them trips, man. I just can't do. It's 700 miles, man, and 1,500 miles round trip, and it just kicks my can, and so I'm done. This is it. This is my last year, and but yeah, Lawler, man, oh man, he was just a blessing to work for, and him and Jerry Jarrett, and I take my hat off to them, and they were both excellent bookers. And hey, man, here's the captain, brother. Captain, brother, man.
Now, I had a fan named Rick send me this shirt of the Sheik, the original Sheik. I know you worked for him, and I was wondering if you could share any stories with us about him.
You bet. I was very fortunate to have Dick the Bruiser in Annapolis take me under his wing, and just a young kid. Again, how I started was just doing all TVs, and then they started giving me a house show here and there, and that's how I learned. And so he would send me to Detroit, 300 miles from my home, in Hammond, Indiana, around Chicago. And then he'd send me 400 to Gagne, and then I'd do their TVs. And then he'd send me another 300 to St. Louis for Sam Mushnick and the Kiel Auditorium. And so then after doing all their I do everybody's TV. So I worked for the original Sheik there in Cobo Hall, and he started giving me house shows and liked me, and which I was very fortunate, and to be right in the center, and I could wrestle all of these sides, and I made a living, just a young kid, and they're just beating me every night, man, working me over, but I'm learning my trade, and then all of a sudden, man, I started, they would start giving me longer matches, out there on the house shows, and to learn. Then all of a sudden, man, they did, maybe I'd get a Broadway, we'd go time limit, and then a win here and there, and then they start on TV saying they'd give me a little, Broadway or a little win, slip over something, and that's all it went. And then Vern Gagne said to me, he says, I went in one Saturday, and he says, Jimmy, myself, Bill Watts, and Fritz Von Erich, we all invested in the Leroy McGurk, Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma territory. And he says, we'd love for you to go in there. And he said, it'd be good for you. So that's when I went on the road, and I stayed there. 3 months. They sent me to Dallas, Texas for Fritz. Fritz gave me my name. I went in as Jimmy the Body Valiant. And Fritz says, you can't use that name because our big star is Johnny Valentine, Greg's father, and he's here. So I said, okay. He says, Fritz says, your name is Handsome Jimmy Valiant. I mean, just like that, boom. And so he used that. I stayed there 2 months. Vince McMahon called, says, we're looking for a young, good-looking kid. And he said, I got a kid here, man, just came in. And they sent me to New York, and that's where I got my break. Went in as Handsome Jimmy, and Vince McMahon Sr. gave me my break, sent me to Japan after I stayed 15 months, invited me back in 3 years, or every 4 years, whatever, and then back another 3 or 4 years, and I continued going. I went 3 times in the 7, stayed over a year each time. And when he passed on, that's when and I was very fortunate to be in the WWE Hall of Fame, which you mentioned early. And a real fast story, Devin. You're talking about the Giant. His fingers, I'm telling you, were like this big, you know. And they gave him the ring, his Hall of Fame ring here. And Monsoon took a half a dollar or silver dollar, I don't know, big coin, the biggest coin, you know, they only make half dollars no more. So it could have been a silver. Anyway, he dropped that through that ring, brother. I seen it. That's how big his fingers is, you know. But I just reminded him.
There's quite a few fans on here because Animal passed away a couple of days ago. They're wondering if you ever wrestled him and any thoughts on his sudden passing, which I don't think anyone expected.
You know, it breaks my heart. He was such a great man, a performer. Him and Hawk, both of them gone now. And Ellering, the time when Lawler broke his leg, Ellering was in Memphis, and I had a big run with him. He wrestled, and what a body, a real good kid. And oh, it broke my heart when the Animal. He's only 60 years old, brother, and you know, yeah, he came to my wrestling camp 2 or 3 times. You know, anytime he was around there, like so many, rock and roll with Koloff, you know, everybody, man. You know, if they're around in Virginia, around Blacksburg is where Virginia Tech is. We're real close, 20 miles, 30 miles from Roanoke, Virginia. So we're up in the mountains in New River Valley. And if they're around that area wrestling or just going through, they come by on Sunday because we're only there on Sunday, 12 to 4. And while we're here, Dev, I want to invite you and everybody listening, come any Sunday and be Angel, my guest, at our wrestling camp. And we start at 12 noon, finish at 4. 52 Sundays a year, only 4 hours every week. That's all we're open, and everything's free. You come, be our guest. We got a Hall of Fame. We got a museum there. Thousands of pictures, everything, you know, on the walls in every building, man. And just come be our guest and hang out with us. Yes, sir. And I know the Animal, you know, Big Joe he came 2 or 3 times, you know, and of course I wrestle. Oh man, goodness, man, yeah, I wrestled him many times, and I was there when he started. Him and Rude and Hawk when they started before the Road Warriors, you know, and they started like we did. They did jobs on TV, brother, and that's how they were still doing it, you know. And not long, because you know, if you stay too long, you get labeled. But if you got something that they see that say, hey, this kid do something, man, you know, make us some money, and it's a business, man. And then they'll get you out there and they'll get you going. And they got them going real fast.
Now, I know you've been married for a long time, but we always hear the stories about the groupies in the Memphis territory. Did you witness a lot of that over the years, how crazy it was? That's something that seems to be missing in today's wrestling.
Yeah, of course, you know, and you know, just like, you know, the boys, they got names for everything. We got our own language, you know, and we used to talk Carney, and you know, that's a lost art now, you know, and we used to so many, because everything we do, Devin, is come from the carnival, you know, and hey, babyface, kayfabe, all this is carnival talk, you know, but anyway, yeah, going back to your question, like you know, they would call the girls. I never did because hey, if it wasn't for the fans, man, and they're fans, you know, I never, brother. This is they. I've been married my whole life, brother. I was married a teenager. I've married 17 years to one lady, 13 years to another, and my angel now, we've been together 30 years. figure that out, bro. I've been married 60 years, man. You know, and but the thing is that yeah, of course. I mean, man, you know, they're there, and they're there for the boys. You know, and they take care of the boys in any business. You know, if you're in a band, man, you know, they call them Band-Aid. You know, and they got the girls there, and you know, the one guys they do that one song, you know, music for nothing and the chicks are free, you know, and you know, this is part of our, you know, friends benefits or whatever, you know, of course, if that's what you choose to do, you know, it's your business, their business, and but yeah, it did, and but it wasn't only in Memphis, brother. It was everywhere. It was all over, man. Yeah.
And Universal Talent Bookings wants to know if you have any stories about working with the Junkyard Dog or Steve Beal.
You bet. Yeah, the dog, man. Again, he's a great cat, man. And man, another one that left us, you know. And every time I see him, man, he would say, "Boogie, boogie, go, go, go get us some dirt, man. Go get us some dirt." You know, and he you know, wanted to smoke. He liked to smoke, and so you know, I would go out and you know, and see somebody or whatever, and they'd hand me a little smoke, and they one night, you know, I gave it to him, and he says, "You got any papers?" I said, "No, man," because a lot of times they have something already rolled up for them, you know, and but the thing, hey Devin, man, this is gospel, man. He was drinking wine, man, and he took the brown bag and he just ripped a little piece off and he rolled that in that brown bag, brother. Man, it's like smoking a pipe. I mean, you know, it just bites you. You know, that was the craziest thing. So you know, but hey, he was a great guy, man. Yeah, and you know, he was real afraid of snakes, man. You know, of course, I don't like them myself, but he'd be in a dressing room and you could take your belt off, and he'd be over there with his back turned, and you throw the belt and say, "Dog, watch the snake, dog," and he turned around and see the belt coming through the air, man. You had him, and oh boy, he'd jump up on the chair, man. Oh, he'd go nuts, man. Yeah, great guy.
And just to wrap this up, since you bring up the Junkyard Dog smoking that, it's legal now here in Canada, all across Canada. Is it legal in Virginia yet, where you're from?
It's not, but it is in quite a few of the states, and it will be. Yeah, it's going all the way, brother. Yeah, and but quite a few, and I know Canada, and oh yeah, brother, man, it's cool. Everything's cool, brother.
You probably know from your years dealing with wrestlers, it's probably safer to have wrestlers smoking that than drinking.
You bet. Years ago, Devin, the old timers, they were all alcoholics, and not all. I'm saying, but you know, that was their choice and our choice, and every night we'd leave and we'd get a 6 pack or whatever. You know, Weaver would get a 6 pack and a quart. You know, and he'd drink the cold quart in the glass, and then he'd get cans in the other, and depends on how far the trip was. If it's a shorter trip, he may have a couple cans in the 6 pack left. Otherwise, he'd knock them all out. And but we'd all have them right at our feet, man. You know, and it was before, man. Now it's so, oh, you can't have it open in the car, and oh, you did DUI and all this. But years ago, man, you know, hey, police, they knew, brother, man. They stopped. They knew everybody. Hey, be careful, guys, man. You know, bop, and whatever. But yeah. But now, yeah. I agree with you, Devin. Yeah, that's safe.
So to wrap this up, do you want to remind everyone what your social media is, where people can look up to buy your book, where people can find more information about your wrestling school?
You bet, bro. Thank you, Devin. And yeah, guys, just check out the website is Jimmy Valiant, one word, JIMMY VALIANT, and then put a dot, then Weebly, WEEBLY, then another dot, com. JimmyValiant.weebly.com, or you can just write me, and my email is jimmyvaliant at outlook.com. And if nothing else, just put Jimmy Valiant in there. All that will come up, And you can get my book, you can get my farewell T-shirts, you can get whatever you want, man. I got, and also you can see Angel. My lovely wife Angel. She makes all the outfits. I mean, man, tights, robes, whatever you want, mask, man, capes, yeah, singlets, whatever, and she's been doing that for since 2002, and she's really good at it. She's got her own little sweatshop down in the basement, and I kid her about the sweatshop, but yeah, she's a beautiful lady, and she can make that happen. So just Google Jimmy Valiant, and man, I appreciate everything, Devin, man. You're the best, brother, man, and I really appreciate you having me on tonight. And man, I just want to tell the people, woo, Master Boogie Woogie Man feel good. I want to tell my people, my brothers and sisters, tune in to Devin, man. You're the best, brother. God bless you. I love you, man. Thanks for having me again, guys. I had fun, man. I hope everybody had fun. And, fun for all, man. God bless everybody.
Do you mind just singing us out with a line or two? Because there's been a couple of fans that have asked you to sing. If you could sing us a couple lines to close this interview.
Say a couple of what now?
If you could sing us a couple of lines from one of your songs.
Yeah, man. Hey, went to a honky-tonky party just the other night. Fanny got jealous and they started a fight. Cause I was dancing with a Mary Lou. I had to call Devin to the rescue. Woo, Mustard Boogie Man feel good. Yeah.